Good morning, everyone. This is Nana Heron. I'm a Susie T, and this is Tangle Time Arts. Welcome. It's a beautiful day out, and I thought we'd take a look at a grid type of tangle today. Tangles, actually, because we're going to be looking at two. We're going to look at Huggins and W2. These are actually tangleations or variations of the same tangle. But in the early days of Zentangle, I guess tangleations each got their own name, but they're very similar. They both start with the grid. So for our supplies, I am using an Apprentice tile today, which is a little larger because we're going to put both tangles on the same tile. I have a black pen. I'm using the Apprentice pen, but you can use your favorite black pen, a number 2 pencil, and a tortillon. And that's all you need today. If you don't have an Apprentice tile, you can use computer paper or a sketchbook, or you can use a regular size tile. You just won't be able to fit as many on there. All right, let's get started. I'm going to start with my pencil. And instead of placing the 4 dots on here like we normally do, I'm just going to kind of outline a grid using dots. And that'll kind of help you see how we're going to fill in these tangles. So I'm going to start here and put a dot. And then I'm filling in more dots. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and we can just fit in 8 like that. And then we're going to go work our way down and kind of fill in our grid. So, and I'm doing it this way because Huggins uses a circle seed shape to start, and W2 uses a square seed to start with. And while Huggins uses curved shapes, W2 uses straight lines. Otherwise, it's the same technique. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Here we are at 5. And I'm not measuring these out. I'm just attempting to be sort of approximately the same distance-wise. And if you'd like to work larger, you could have had 6 instead of 8. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We'll put in 8 here. So we've got 8 by 8. Or you could do 6 by 6. Whatever works best for you. Now I'm going to put my pencil away. So for the left half, I'm going to do Huggins, and then on the right half, I'm going to do W2. So for the Huggins, we are using these circle seats. So for the left half, I am doing circles. And for me, Huggins is one of the early tangles that is great to learn. But for some reason, it gave me difficulty. So I'm going to show you how I draw these, which is a little easier for me. So we're just putting in our circle seed shapes. And these are not that large. They're a little bigger than a pinhead. And I'm trying to make them sort of the same, but you also want them to be individuals, right? So they're not twins, they're like sisters. And then on the right half, I am going to do little square shapes. So anywhere I had placed a pencil dot to mark my grid out, we're going to put a square shape now. And we're on our last set here. All right, so we have circle seed shapes on the left and square seed shapes on the right. So we will do Huggins on the left and W2 on the right. So for me, the easiest way that I can think of doing this is you're working with, they're kind of like C shapes. So if you want to kind of practice in the air, and this one's going to be kind of like backwards, I kind of go along the circle and then I arc out over to the next circle like that. Okay. So I go like that. And then I alternate and I'm going to go down the line there. So I'm just going to go back and forth like that, alternating the curves, which are almost like C's. And then for your next set, you're going to do the opposite. So whereas this one curved that way, over here, we're going to curve this way, like that. But then we're going to alternate. So this one went this way. So this one's going to go the opposite way. So again, we're just alternating all the way down. Okay. And then again, when we come over here, we're going to do the opposite of this one. And then just keep alternating. Got one more set here. All right. Now we're going to finish our Huggins before we start our W2. So the easiest for me to do way to do this is to actually rotate my tile a quarter turn. And then it just becomes a matter of doing the same thing that we already did. Okay, so with this, the way to start is because this is curving in, we're going to curve out. And once we have that set, then we're just alternating like that. So we're actually putting the caps on. It's the exact same motion that we did in the other direction. And we're gonna do the opposite from this. And now you start to see these lovely woven shapes. So you're always looking at doing the opposite when you start your next set. Like that. All right. Now we're going to go back to where we started, and we're going to take a look at our W2 over here. So I'm going to start this as if I were just continuing my Huggins on, but we're going to use straight lines instead. And since this is curving out that way, I'm going to put my straight line, now we're working with straight lines, on the outside. Instead of curving, it's just a straight line. And then I alternate that. So this curves in, so my straight line is going to be inside. And I'm just working my way, alternating all the way down. Like that. So on my next set, this is on the inside. So we're going to start on the inside and then move to the outside. And we're just alternating inside and outside. Sometimes with these, you might have to square off your squares a little bit because you are working with straight lines. And so you want the squares to be sort of similar sized. It's a little easier with the circles. They don't have to be quite so similar. All right, going on to the next set. This is on the outside there. So we're going to go outside and then the inside. And I'm going to make my tiny square a little larger. And our last column here, this is on the inside, so we're going to be on the inside and the outside, inside, outside. To fix this wonky square here, like that. All right, and then we're going to, just like we did before, we're going to rotate a quarter turn. And then we're going to start. This is going to be where it's a little tricky because we've got Huggins morphing into W2. So I kind of start, this one's going to be a little round and then comes straight down. Okay, and then since this was on the inside, then we switch to just straight lines on the outside, then inside and outside. So for the row that morphs, you start with your curve and then come straight down. It's on the inside, on the outside, inside, and on the outside. And here we go again, a half curve into a straight line. It's on the outside, inside, outside, inside. And again, you can start to see this nice woven pattern here. Like that. And then we'll turn it this way. So we have Huggins morphing into W2 like that. Both have this lovely woven effect. And we're going to shade now. So you could put the cap on your pen and pick up your #2 pencil. And I like to shade starting kind of on these curves here to emphasize where the Huggins go inward. And I'm just going to keep that consistent with the W2 as well. And then I'm going to rotate my tile a quarter turn just to make it easier. And doing the same thing. And it's actually, if you think about it, you're just kind of going straight down the line. I guess that is the easier way to think about it. You're just alternating the same as we did with the ink. So let's do that. That actually makes more sense. So we're just alternating like we did with the ink and going straight down. for both Huggins and W2. Let's go on this outer one here. And there's of course different ways that you can shade. As with all of these tangles, you can experiment with shading and see what works best for you. Absolutely. I'm going to go along this edge here. And then let's see, we'll go along this edge here. And come back in and pick up these areas. And just kind of take a quick look. Sometimes it's easy to forget an area, but it's a simple matter just to go back in. All right. So once we have our graphite in, and if you'd like to go a little darker with that, you absolutely can. I'm going to add a little here so that you can see it better on the screen. Um, Sometimes I can see it just fine, but it doesn't show up so well on the screen. Just throw there. There we go. That pretty much looks like all of them. And if you're happy with how much graphite you have on there, you can go ahead and start using your tortillon. The nice thing about working with the Apprentice tile is that the graphite blends in really, really well. So I'm really just alternating back and forth, going from the top to the bottom. If you prefer just to work on one half or a corner, that's fine. But for today, I'm just going from the top to the bottom. And actually with the W2, it's much easier to shade because you can just go straight down that straight line. I'm going to rotate again. If you don't need to rotate, you can skip that part. So for me, when I'm blending, I kind of just work. I don't really have a plan for blending often. I just kind of go wherever my heart desires and see where it takes me. And what I really like is that once you get a lot of graphite on the tip of your tortillon, you can go back and add, if you, let's say you forgot to add graphite to an area, you can just add it with your tortillon actually, if you have enough graphite on there. So I'll definitely meander here and there when I'm working with the tortillon. And then I like to rotate and just make sure I got everything like that. So we have this really nice exercise where we started with Huggins and morphed into W2. It's a grid tangle. Both are grid tangles. They're variations of each other. Tangleations is what we call variations. And it's got this really nice woven look. And each area is a hug. So if you're making a card or something and you'd like to send someone a hug, Huggins is a very good tangle to use. And as a bonus, next week we'll be looking at crazy Huggins and using each area kind of like as a reticula and filling in tangles in those areas. So it's going to be a lot of fun. So this was just a quick exercise in a grid tangle, which is kind of a woven tangle, and morphing from one into the other, which is kind of cool. And I am going to, let's see, I'll put my chop in here somewhere. I think I'll put it right down in here. And if you kind of hold this, if you're able to pick it up and hold it at arm's distance, it has a really nice effect to it. I'm going to turn that over, and I always like to put my name on there and the date. It's already May 6th. And we're on Tangle of the Week number 18, where we did Huggins and W2. And these are tangleations. Tangleations are variations. So that was the exercise, morphing just half and half. You might also want to try, and I was playing with this earlier, you might want to try, instead of going straight down, you could go on the diagonal. So I had this circle seeds. I started with 6, and then I kind of went down to 5, 4, kind of a 3, 4, 2, down to 1 on the diagonal. And then on the other half, I had the square seed fragments. And that also creates a really nice morphed effect between the two. So give that a try and let me know what you think. And I'll be back next weekend with a look at Crazy Huggins, which is a whole lot of fun. And like I said, we'll play around with these spaces in here with the Crazy Huggins. So I hope you've enjoyed this video. If you're enjoying these videos, please subscribe. I'd really appreciate it. And I always have fun spending this time with you. And if no one's told you lately, you all are amazing. And I love you guys. I'll see you next weekend. Take care. Have a great week. Bye.